Hello everyone and welcome back guys to round 8 of season 5 of the F1 2020 My Team Career Mode, where today we're here back for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Yes, if you missed out last week's video from the Monaco Grand Prix, I would definitely recommend going back and checking out. But as we head to Baku this weekend though, things, spicing up once more in the Drivers' World Championship. Obviously, like I said, spoilers in 3, 2, 1 now. So last time out then, at the Monaco Grand Prix, we were able to take home our 4th race victory of the World Championship, extending our gap at the top over our teammate to 37 points as we head into Baku this weekend. Obviously, we got 2 third places and then 2 wins, another 3rd place and 2 wins. Are we going to finally be able to make it 3 in a row this World Championship, or is Max Verstappen finally going to get a little bit more luck on his side after the 2 wins early on in the World Championship here? You know, he's still looking like a man on 1 lap pace that is pretty much unbeatable at the moment, but over race lengths, he's really been in a good groove at the moment as well. There you can see Pierre Gasly still up in P3 ahead of George Russell there, and Alexander Albon and Daniel Kvyat there ahead of Ocon, Perez, Lando Norris and Charles Leclerc rounding out your top 10. But yeah, heading to Baku this weekend, always a track that causes some chaos and drama. Let's dive into it. Then qualifying day for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, and it is looking like a wet one here from the Baku City Circuit. A very difficult track to try and learn the wet braking points for, I won't lie to you guys. But Q1 was incredibly wet, we were on full wet tyres. Q2 though, we are on the inter, so the rain is definitely starting to slow down, of course, as well as you can see. But could that mean it gets towards dry, ready for Q3? I think this is going to be one of those sessions where you basically just want to be out doing laps pretty much all the time, so you can try and get the perfect moment out there on the circuit. As we get a bit fishtaily through the first couple of corners, but obviously the power of this car comes in clutch in the final sector of the lap. It's just keeping it nice and tidy through all the twisty bits as well here, as we try and dance the car down in through sector 2, trying to avoid locking up, trying to avoid understeer as well. Absolutely critical so we don't knock the front wing. Already some very quick times going up on the board as we head down in towards sector 3, or just slap the outside wall with the rear tyre. That Albon goes quickest on a 150.4. I'm hoping we're just going to get a little bit of a draft from Carlos Sainz there. We might be a bit too far back now as we head through the final corners of the lap. Just half throttle, 8th gear there as you try not to understeer out to the outside wall there. We might just pick up a faint toe off Carlos Sainz in front of us here as we head down the start-finish line. What is it going to be as we reach the end of this lap? It's going to be a 149.9 with the first car to dip under the 150 mark there, but I'm sure everyone is still going to be improving as Gasly instantly goes faster than us. As we head through the final couple of corners though, there is no doubt about it, the track is definitely getting quicker. Oh, we slapped the outside wall through the final corner. That's going to cost us a little bit of momentum as we head towards the start-finish line here. But yeah, the track definitely getting faster as we head up towards the line. Then we're going to go 6 tenths quicker down into a 149.3. Only a 10th off George Russell, but we are definitely going to have to go out for more runs. So in the end then, the pace didn't improve all too much for a lot of cars there, so we ended up P4 at the end of Q2. Only 7 tenths of a second though, separating the top 10 there. As you can see, Max Verstappen fastest, pretty much as always there by 10th. At the end of Q2 there, but both Red Bulls, both Ferraris, Sainz and Kimi Räikkönen out in Q2 here. Lando Norris gets through into Q3, as well as both Racing Points who have always gone well around this circuit. Let's dive into Q3. So heading out then into Q3, it looks like this session has effectively been made a one-shot qualifying as we head through the final couple of corners here. Everyone is going to try and have to get one dry lap in, as I think we are going to be the last car on to our lap here. It is going to be incredibly tight. Yeah, we've left it pretty close there. 4 seconds on the clock as we head down over the start-finish line here, but we need to absolutely get this lap nailed if we want to try and get up towards the front of the field there. I think everyone else did go out on a set of the inters early on, but the track here was meant to dry out with about 4 minutes to go, so you could just see the delta dropping down so drastically throughout the entirety of this session there, breaking down in towards the second of the big braking zones. That was pretty tidy. Just car feels so grippy once you've got a dry track once again. It's so weird, just another car will grip up in like second, third and fourth gear there. Obviously it won't in the rain, and so far Sector 1 has been pretty tidy there. A bit of a mistake as we head down in through Sector 2, but purple in the first sector of the lap. We got Stroll just in front of us, so hopefully he's going to get out of the way as we're getting a little bit loose down in towards turn 8, or almost hitting the wall where Hamilton did way back in 2016 there. That was almost a big shunt for us, as hopefully, yeah, Stroll, if he's not going to get out of the way, he's going to give us a nice big tow down towards the start-finish straight here as we come towards the end of this lap. Come on, Stroll. Really? Really, Lance? You could have just sat in the way for a couple more corners and helped a brother out. He even tried to dive bomb me in towards the final sector there as we go purple through the middle sector as well. I'm sure... Are we going to see anyone improve towards the end of these laps, or has everyone else just given up towards the end of the session? I think everyone else is coming in for their in-lap. So everyone else then has actually done a lap on a slightly wet circuit here. So up towards the start-finish line, surely this is going to be pole position for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Yes, it is. And I think we have absolutely mastered that right when it mattered. Pole position here in Baku, our second of the season. We will take it very happily indeed.
With qualifying finished, it's time to remind ourselves of our top three. Mr. Monaco, Gasly and Max Verstappen. Goodbye for now then, but we're really just getting started. Make sure to join us again for Lights Out tomorrow.
Pole by 1.2 seconds. Surely that has got to be one of the biggest margins that we've had pole position in this career mode there. I remember George and I at Singapore in Season 3. I think there was about 7/10 separating us, but even then we were 2.5 seconds clear of everyone else. Just goes to show how dominant that car was. But yeah, Pierre Gasly on the front row of the grid there, over a second off. And yeah, like I said, I think what happened was the AI tend to go out and try to give themselves enough time to do an in-lap before qualifying comes to an end there. So they must have gone out on a slightly damp track. We obviously went out all guns blazing right at the end of the session where the track had dried up pretty much entirely. And there we go. Pole position for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Let's dive into the race.
Good afternoon and welcome to Baku. This was the arena, if you think back to 2017, of one of the most eventful races of modern history, with controversy behind the safety car, last-second overtakes, and a historic podium for Williams and for Lance Stroll. So let's find out what lies in store for us this year. It's time for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. The Baku City Circuit measures roughly 6 kilometers and is made up of 20 corners and 2 DRS zones. The circuit winds around the narrow city, through the old town, and even brushes against the city's medieval walls. However, as beautiful as the setting is, this track is also a ferocious technical challenge, where the smallest of mistakes could lead to catastrophic consequences for all of our drivers. Anthony Davidson joins me again for the race today. Let's talk about Mr. Monaco. That was a great win in the last race. Can they keep that momentum going this weekend?
There are never any guarantees in this business, but certainly the performance last time out would have boosted their confidence coming into this one.
Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks for today's race. Mr. Monaco lines up on pole position, and it's Pierre Gasly in P2. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Verstappen, Stroll, Sergio Perez, and Ocon, Bottas, Russell, Norris, and Daniel Kvyat, Albon, Hamilton, Charles Leclerc, and Sainz, Joe, Raikkonen, Nicholas Latifi, and Antonio Giovinazzi, King, Magnussen, De Vries, and Nobuharu Matsushita. It's almost time for the lights to go out, so let's head down to the track and get this Grand Prix underway.
Now that we've got some points on the board, let's continue this form and aim for another top 10 finish.
We finished on the podium in all the first 7 races, and still, Jeff just wants a top 10 this weekend. Yeah, I never quite understand his logic. But here we are then, on the grid, ready for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. That is the worst high strategy they've ever seen as well. Is Jeff high or something this weekend? Is that what's going on? We'll try... What do we want to try? Medium softs, perhaps? Would that work? It doesn't reckon that would work. I reckon that could work. Let's do that. Oh, God. Like that? No, it reckons medium hards, but we might try medium soft. Otherwise, we'll probably go... Sorry, we'll go soft medium, even, I should say. We want to use the softs at the start just so we can try and stay out towards the front of the field here. I mean, there's a very good chance we're going to get a safety car in this one. We'll go pretty aggressive under fuel as well there, and despite all of that, it was still trying to select the other strategy. So it was a good job I double-checked that as well here. But ready on the grid for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. We're going to try soft mediums, depending on how well the tyres go. We might just go soft hard, but who knows? Safety cars are always a thing here. Waiting, though, on the 5 red lights, which are also hopefully going to be a thing here as well. 5 red lights. And it's lights out, and away we go for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Tidy start there as both Gasly and Verstappen struggle down in towards turn 1. We're going to comfortably get out in front there, as Stroll has had a worldly of a start down through the first corner there. The Canadian straight up into P2, where obviously he famously took Williams' last podium in Formula 1 back in 2017 there. Gasly and Verstappen both starting on the hards, so they're clearly going for a very, very different strategy in this Grand Prix there. But as we head down in towards turn 3 there, almost understeering into the outside wall as we clip the inside curbing on the way through. Stroll, very, very quick at the start of the Grand Prix, but that start really, couldn't have worked out much better for us had we tried, I'll be honest. Straight up holding on to the lead. We got over a second over the Canadian already as we head down in through sector 2. Got just a little bit of understeer though as we try to get bite in the front end there through turn 8 for the first time, all nice and tidy. As already Max Verstappen 2 seconds behind us as we come toward the end of sector 2 here. The dream start here in Baku. Let's see if we can try and build up some momentum. Heading down over the start-finish line, and you can see the top-end speed we've got over Lance Stroll there, just edging away from him. Gap up to 1.2 seconds there as Verstappen, 3 seconds back as he battles it out with Gasly on those hard tyres there. I think they, well, with a bit of luck for us, they'll sort of trip over each other in this Grand Prix. As you can see there, a bit of dicing around between them through the first corner there. So really, they're very much shooting each other in the foot early on in this race, as it could work out perfectly for Racing Point, as Sergio Perez there sat just behind him. If you guys remember all the way back to, I think, Season 2 of this career mode, Racing Point had been, a fairly decent team, but nothing all out of this world. Came to Baku, dominated the entire weekend, and then with 6 laps to go, both cars blew up. Very, very peculiar times in this series. Seems so long ago now, but at the moment, though, Racing Point seem to have come back here with fighting forms. Verstappen down to 5th place now, nearly 7 seconds behind us, and we're only halfway through lap 2. Oh, Latifi out of the Grand Prix, and we've got a safety car already, so on just lap 2 of the Grand Prix there, and that's kind of really screwed Lance Stroll and myself there. But a safety car, I said there was going to be one in this race. There's Nicholas Latifi already out of this Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Well, they've certainly been getting their money out of Burt Mylander over the last couple of weekends. 2 safety cars last time out of Monaco early on, and another safety car here inside the first 2 laps. But obviously we are going to control the pace ready off the restart. So obviously we can pretty much go about now, as we're going to try and break away from Stroll. The AI on F120 though seem to be pretty good at reacting there, but it seems like we haven't nailed that one by the looks of it. Stroll's stuck a little bit further back behind us, so I think he's going to have to go defensive in towards the first corner. But obviously this huge run down the start-finish straight does mean rubber is going to be cold in towards turn 1. Actually biting fairly nicely there as we head through the first couple of corners, but this should also give us a good chance on the tyres as well to try and take them a bit longer in this Grand Prix. Obviously, as long as we get through the heat cycle again fairly, fairly sort of calmly off the restart here. But as we head down in towards turn 3 once more, again walloping that inside sausage curb. I could very easily spit us out the wrong way at some point or another in this race, but it's been another clean restart. Again, we've pretty much got a second over Lance Stroll as we head down in through sector 2. So we are looking comfortable here early on, but this is Baku. Things can very easily change. Coming to the end of lap 5, the gap almost up to 2 seconds now over Stroll as we set a new fastest lap of the Grand Prix, all the way down into the low 139s here, so sub 100 second lap times in race trim here in Baku. Things looking good. On to lap 8 though. Pace is still feeling pretty good at the moment, but we're definitely overworking the tyres ever so slightly off this restart here. Just starting to feel like there's a little bit more slip in a lot of corners, sort of a lot of traction zones. Obviously you put a lot of stress through the rears around this circuit in a lot of places, but again, the pace is still quite good. I'm just a little bit worried at some point that we might just overstep the mark. And as soon as I say that, we set a new fastest lap of the Grand Prix again. So clearly, yeah, there is still some pace in the tyres there. Perez is the first man into the pits at the end of lap 8, but I'm still really not too sure what we should do in terms of strategy. By the looks of it, those hard tyres just aren't working particularly well in terms of overall pace. I do genuinely believe if we were mediums, if we had to pit again on softs, we would be so quick towards the end of the Grand Prix. We probably still could make something work here in Baku, so I'm tempted to risk it. But then again, you look at the other time we got pole this season, back at Zandvoort, we took the two-stop strategy and it really didn't pay off. Tough times in this championship. Decisions, but we'll keep going for now. These tyres probably got another couple of laps in them. So Stroll into the pit lane then at the end of lap 9. We're definitely going to have to pit this time around, though. The tyre warning has just come on, and now the gap to Gasly is starting to just come down the other way a little bit on this lap as well so far. So we will pit the end of this one. And this race, yeah, can be shaping up really nicely for Gasly. We're going to go on to mediums and see how far we can take him. Coming down in towards the final couple of corners, then the tyres do seem to have just about lasted there. We can just see how much we're skating around through the final corner, having to open up the throttle so much there as we try not to lose the back end of it. Heading down into the pit lane then. It's going to be aggressive on the entry. Don't want to lose out any time. Get it down to 50 miles an hour. They're a little bit cautious on the way in, but nothing too much to worry about there. And Gasly will now inherit the lead of this Azerbaijan Grand Prix. He's had 3 second places so far this championship. He's definitely been the bridesmaid, not the bride, quite a few times so far. Why are we changing the wing? There was no damage on that front wing. Is this going to be the second year in a row we make a silly like that? 8.9 second stop. We're going to be right down near Stroll in this Grand Prix. So that's just how much time we've lost there. Charles Leclerc gets around us as we head back down in towards turn 2. And yeah, now we're right in the clutches of Lance Stroll. So even when Gasly does pit, we're pretty much going to be right near him in this race. We need to try and get past Charles Leclerc though. We can't afford to sit behind the Ferrari for all too long here. We have got some fresh rubber. So hopefully we'll be able to have traction him out of the next corner as we just try to get the tyres up to temperature. Really struggling to find the groove once again here. We haven't had to deal with dirty air so far in this race, and this is really where it could cost us, as again we get a good run on Charles Leclerc. He's going to try and go defensive, but we'll get further to the inside, down the inside in towards turn 7. And we do make that move work. Not a typical overtaking place. I think these next couple of laps are going to be quite race-defining here in Baku. If we can try and get the tyres into a good rhythm, but not taking too much life out of them, this race win is definitely still on the cards. However, if we can't, this race is probably going down the drain. All over the back of Lando Norris, at least now, with this pit strategy. At least it gives us a chance to overtake some cars in the Grand Prix. There is all Lando Norris really kicks out the back end out of the final corner here. We're going to get the DRS on him, but to be honest, I don't really think we're going to need it, as we already put alongside the Mclaren man there. Hamilton in front of us dives into the pit lane on his mediums, so he's been able to get those about 12 laps here, his new fastest lap of the Grand Prix as well. That's our first time down in the 38s with the DRS. Bottas next car up the road though, in the Merc, that is on paper the quickest car in Formula 1 at the moment. The way George and Valtteri are driving it though, you wouldn't think so. Oh, Bottas kicks out the back end as we head out of the first sector to the outside down in... Oh my... Valtteri? Man! Valtteri Bottas suddenly decides he's going to defend a position for once. Who would have thought that would have happened in this race? I was expecting him just to bail out of it on the inside there, but clearly Valtteri Bottas is a changed man after, I think, yeah, no, he has no, Valtteri Bottas is not a Formula 1 World Champion in this series. I should remember, it is just myself and Lewis Hamilton that have won championships in this alternate universe, the McLaren RTG. Valtteri Bottas is a one-time Formula 1 World Champion, but yeah, that certainly isn't going to change this season based on the form he's had early on. Still sat right down in the midfield with, like I said, on paper the fastest car in Formula 1. Bottas, though, almost hits the inside wall through the final corner, and again, we're going to get past him before we're even into the DRS zone there. Pretty textbook move. I'm at a 7th once more. There is Albon into the pits in the other Red Bull. So you can clearly, yeah, get about 13, 14 laps out of those mediums. We might just be able to stretch this to the end if we keep them in good nick. Oh, there we go. More cars into the pit lane. That's Esteban Ocon one of the first men on the medium, on the hards even, I should say, into the pits as we set another new fastest lap of the Grand Prix there. I'm trying again, like I said, to avoid the wheel spin. But we're going well at the moment there. Result, Danny Kvyat, bit of a mistake through the first couple of corners. We should be able to get a good run on him down in towards turn 3 there. The AlphaTauri, no slouch even, I should say, in a straight line. Very late on the brakes though, around the outside we go. Oh, a bit of contact there as I think Kvyat ran a bit deep into the corner. Certainly felt like I gave him enough room on the inside. But over halfway there in this race and we're back up into P4. Just over 9 to go then here from Baku, and still all these hard compound runners are out on the race circuit here. I'm trying to see if we can get a faint toe of George Russell there, and yeah, we should get the DRS as well as we head out of the final corner there. And you can see Gasly, Verstappen and George Russell all going to go another lap in this Grand Prix, so clearly they don't think the softs are going to be able to go very far towards the end, but at the moment it's working wonders for me because we're taking a good second a lap out of these guys. Now I'm sure that pace is certainly going to turn the other way once they have pit, as these mediums aren't wearing too badly at the moment. Let's have a look what they're at. 27%, so we're about halfway through the stint at the moment, so yeah, they should comfortably see us through to the end of the Grand Prix. They're certainly going to be second hand by the end of the race, but not too bad. Come on then, George. Are you going to pit now? Gasly's into the pits. I think Verstappen's staying out another lap though in this Grand Prix, as George Russell is going to stay out as well there. We do have to go over the pit lane line, but we do get away with it this time around there. And now up into P2 of this Azerbaijan Grand Prix there. Gasly's not going to be too far behind us in this one, but Kvyat as well seems to be having a really good run at it at the moment, as he's going to be right out near his teammate as well here. But yeah, Verstappen stays out another one. Russell even, I should say, sorry, still trying to apply some pressure to ourselves, but I think he's admitted defeat now as well. But 7 laps to go here from Baku. Things are shaping up nicely. Heading down the front straight away once again then. Verstappen surely is going to dive it in now, but I said how things are looking comfortable. Pierre Gasly is taking 2 seconds out of me on this lap alone here, so we're not home and dry just yet, with a few to go there as we cross over onto lap 20 of this race. We can only hope those soft tyres don't quite provide him that sort of pace for too long here. But Pierre Gasly, like I said, he's finished second 3 times this season. AlphaTauri are yet to win a race there. It's just them, Haas, Williams and Alfa Romeo that haven't won a race over the entirety of this championship. I'm sure they want to get themselves on the top step of the podium and get out of that club here today, and it is by far and away their best chance so far this year. 6 seconds the gap with 6 to go. On to lap 21, that gap now under 5 seconds. Gasly can sniff victory here, and I'm sure he's not going to give up. A 37.4 goes to show just how quick he's moving, but we've had a history of bottling Baku races in the past. I do not want today to be another one. Lap 22, the gap 3.3 seconds now to Pierre behind us. This is a matter of when, not if, I think, at this stage. And now, as we reach the end of lap 22, it is no longer a case of watching the gap come down. Is Gasly going to pit? What? I'm genuinely speechless. What on earth are AlphaTauri doing? Do they not believe Gasly can get to the end on those tyres as he picked up a puncture? What is that? Gasly, seemingly set to win this Grand Prix with 4 to go, has had to dive it back into the pit lane there. There's been no contact between us at any point or anything like that. He's come back out in P3 on another set of softs. I am lost for words, but with 4 to go then, here from Azerbaijan, it's gone from imminent failure, and it looks like it was going to be our first P2 of the championship, and AlphaTauri were finally going to be on top, to suddenly a 1-2 again.
Final lap of the race.
Well, on to the final lap then of this Azerbaijan Grand Prix, and what a weird one it has turned out to be at the end of the day there. Surely questions will be asked down at AlphaTauri, unless, like I said, it was a puncture or something like that for Pierre Gasly, but even then he was closing up to us so rapidly. Lost for words at the end of this one. I mean, he's taken some mad amounts of time at Verstappen and I still in the final couple of laps there. He's been setting low 37s consistent in towards the end of the Grand Prix, and maybe if this race was sort of, 3-4 laps longer, you think he might still have a chance at the race victory here, as both Verstappen and Pierre Gasly take chunks of time out of myself. But it's going to look like one of those ones on paper that seem pretty easy at the end of the day. But this, yeah, with 5 laps to go, was not a race we had any right to win. We've been pretty lucky so far this season. We've kept the nose clean. We've really had some decisive races as well, where we've been able to carve our way up the order. And again, Baku today has been on my side in towards the final few corners of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. The team, we've been quick all weekend. We got well, I wouldn't say incredibly lucky, but we absolutely finessed our final qualifying lap. We finessed the strategy as well. The game didn't think it was going to be possible to go soft mediums here. And as we head in towards the final couple of corners, look at that, those rears, not even at 60%. You could sell them back as new at the end of the Grand Prix there. But down towards the start-finish line then. 3 in a row this season. It's our 5th win, and we further extend our championship lead here in Baku.
Fantastic. You've won the Grand Prix.
Here we are then, it's victory in Azerbaijan. Great work from the whole team here at the track and back at the factory as well. And some pretty handy driving for good measure. Tell me, Ant, how do you think they were able to deliver such an incredible result today?
Well, they played the safety car to absolute perfection. There are so many factors to worry about once the race is neutralised. I mean, do you pit for fresh rubber? Do you have the space behind you? How much fuel can you save? If you answer all of those questions correctly, you'll have a good chance. And that's exactly what happened today.
Welcome then to the podium, our top 3 drivers. What a great effort from them today in a very difficult race. So let's review the updated driver standings. Mr. Monaco increases their championship lead. So, Anthony Davidson, who would you rank as your driver of the day?
It's an interesting one today. On balance, I think I have to call out Alexander Albon. A really solid drive from him today, and one that he and his team should be proud of.
It's time to see how things are shaping up in the Constructors' Championship. The current leaders continue to extend their lead at the top. Meanwhile, Renault move up the table with another strong performance this weekend. Well, Ant, an end to another fantastic weekend of racing. Thanks to everyone who joined us, and we'll see you for the next one.
Well, there we are then, guys, the end of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, and it is a 1-2 at the end of the day for the team there, but yeah, very, very different story for those of you that have watched all the way through that race there. But pole position and the race victory, again, it makes it look simple, but Gasly, yeah, must feel absolutely robbed with that one at the end of the day there. Max Verstappen comes through just 2.1 seconds behind us there. And yeah, Pierre Gasly, P3, a 1:37.0 fastest lap, 8 tenths quicker than our teammate. And yeah, he was definitely the quickest car at the end of the day there. George Russell just missing out on another podium in 4th ahead of Ocon. Stroll, Albon gets some good points on the board for Red Bull, ahead of Bottas, who, yeah, rather surprisingly gets, well, I say rather surprisingly, it shouldn't be a surprise, but it is still that Bottas is getting points for Mercedes there. Hamilton in 9th, Red Bull really did make the strategy work in the end there, ahead of Lando Norris in P10 there. Kvyat, his teammate was the fastest man on track today. He couldn't even get the car into the points at the end there. I think, yeah, Danny Kvyat's time in Formula 1 may be limited there. You can see the rest of the order on your screens as well there. This means championship-wise, 44 points. The gap now opens up at the top of the field there as Ocon gets the jump on Danny Kvyat there. Bottas and Stroll get past Leclerc and Sainz there as Hamilton still down in 14th place. No other movers though in the Drivers' World Championship. Constructors-wise, Racing Point get the jump on McLaren. Renault get the jump on Ferrari as well. There was 170 points clear after just 8 races. It's weird. It feels like Season 3 when you look at the points standings, but it's just been every race. We've done everything we need to. We're sort of really showing ourselves the complete Formula 1 package at the moment as a team as well there. But thank you all so much for watching this video. If you have enjoyed, do make sure you leave a like, get yourself subscribed as well. And yeah, we will definitely be back very, very soon with more from the My Team career mode. Next time we're at Canada, it's always a track I love. Let's do it. A big thank you to our channel members for making these videos possible. You can be featured in these end clips as well as granted access to some other exclusive perks for just £1 a month by clicking the join button below.